times have gotten faster. So let's say that's Moore's law. But on top of that, everything at the fleet, the system software optimization, the model architecture optimizations, the kernel optimizations for inference, the app server, even the prompt caching, how good we've gotten in. And so you add all of that up for every 6 months, 12 months, you have a 10x perhaps improvement, right? And so when you have capability improvement of that rate and the prices drop at that rate, fundamentally consumption goes up. So I'm very optimistic that we are at a stage where deep applications can get built. And so these things where you have an orchestration layer with these agents, with multiple models, I feel like we're at that place. Because if you think about even the first generation of apps, they were very coupled to one model. But we are finally getting to multi-model applications where I can orchestrate, in fact, a deterministic workflow, an app, an agent that was built on one model, talking to another agent. We even have these protocols are helpful, whether it's MCP, whether it's A2N, whatever. These are all good things. If we can standardize a bit, and then we can build applications that are, taking advantage of, I would say, these capability building, but it has flexibility. And that's where I think open source absolutely has a massive, massive role to play.
Yeah, well, I definitely want to make sure we can get into discussing how to use multiple models together. And I think that there's this whole kind of concept of a distillation factory in the infrastructure around that you think Microsoft is well positioned to basically provide as there are multiple models. Maybe we'll come back to that in a minute. But before we do that, Microsoft obviously has been on this interesting journey around open source, right? And this is one of the big things that you did, under your leadership early on, was embracing it. And you had the early partnership with OpenAI, but then also were very clear that in addition to working with closed models, you wanted to make sure that Microsoft served open models well. And I'm curious how you think about that and how you think that the open source ecosystem is going to evolve and why that's important to your customers and how you think about that with all the infrastructure that you're building.
Yeah, it's interesting you asked that because I grew up, in fact, one of my formative jobs at Microsoft was also making sure that we had interoperability with the various flavors of Unix out there between NT and Unix. And that taught me one thing, which is interoperability is what, first of all, customers demand. And if you do a good job of it, that's good for your business, and obviously you're meeting customers where they are. And so to us, I think that's what has shaped my thinking when it comes to open. I mean, I'm not dogmatic about closed source or open source. Both of them are needed in the world. And in fact, I think customers will demand them, right? Even if any one of us has dogma, it doesn't matter.